Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Finn. I am the trans program curator at New Haven Pride Center, and I am super excited for the third edition now of this month's Beyond the Binary, which is, again, a monthly series of conversations with non-binary folks who are doing really awesome things in the community. And we are talking with Pink Navel, aka Dev Bailey, tonight in a few minutes. Before we begin, though, I would like to give a quick land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the land on which we are hosting this event. The New Haven Pride Center was founded on and operates on the traditional lands of the Mohegan, Mashantucket Pequot, Eastern Pequot, Scaticoat, Golden Hill, Paugussett, Niantic, and Quinnipiac peoples. From whatever occupied lands you are, please take a moment to acknowledge and honor the Native people whose lands we all occupy and the history of the places we know. Find out more about Native lands by visiting native-land.ca. And with that, I would like to introduce Pink Navel, Dev Bailey.
Hey, what's going on? How are you, Finn?
I'm good. It's been like 30 seconds. How's everything?
So much has changed.
I know, really, truly. These are amazing times.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is going to be definitely one of my most look forward to conversations. It's just really cool to be here, you know? I saw you for the first time live at State House at the beginning of the year. And well, not the beginning, it was April, but like, you know, I had listened to you and I was like, wow, this is awesome. But seeing you live is just like next level. So
Wow.
you know, with that, I'm excited to just drop a little Easter egg that we are going to have you back in September in person for Pride performance, and that's going to be awesome. But beforehand, I thought it'd be super cool to sit down and talk to you. So, with all that said, tell us about yourself.
Thank you so much.
I know it's such a broad question, but just give us a little like introduction of like name, pronouns, and like how you describe your music to people.
For sure, yeah. My name is Dev. My pronouns are they, them. And I rap under the name Pink Navel. And I guess I would describe my music. There's this phrase that, or this genre phrase that people use called art rap that was coined by Open Mike Eagle.
And I love Open Mike Eagle.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best. And I guess that's kind of like what I like try to make, and I think what most people like recognize my music as. But I think more generally speaking, I'm like a rapper, which is, you know, like the the black tradition of like folk music, but rap music, I guess I could say. Yeah. That's kind of how I like to think of it, is like it's like a storyteller kind of like thing, or just like a poet in general, like an observer of the world. And I think where I place myself in that like world of rap, I would say I'm very like whimsical, childlike, or youthful, I guess is a better word. And I think I just try to like keep that spark alive of like a cheerful nature, even though like the world is kind of like, or can be, a very like gloomy and doomy place. I try to use my rap music to like just like shed some light on like the joys of life as well, but also you know, acknowledge that like the world has hardships and individuals have hardships, and just like keep that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interview's over. Like that was it. No, but, I know in one of your bios that you sent over, it was something like the first and last art rapper of suburbia, and I was actually wondering if that was like an Open Mike Eagle nod. So I'm glad to confirm that that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I feel like I'm totally going off like what I have written down, but I just want to talk about this. Like I think that you know, there is this kind of what am I trying to say here? Like, I'm thinking about your song Zay Frank from your most recent album.
Mhm.
And for folks who don't know, Zay Frank is like a YouTube personality, I suppose, to sum it up quite briefly. And you have a song called Zay Frank, and you talk about being the only rapper who knows Zay Frank. Like, I feel like there's this theme of you kind of realizing like how like unique you are, I guess, and like celebrating that and being confident in it and like
Mm.
kind of owning it rather than being like, I don't know, like it's just great. So,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I always try to rap about, like, the truest stuff about me, and I feel like a lot of my life, I spend my time, like, not being very introspective. I think a lot of, like, my downtime and, like, just time living a life outside of, like, art and music and, like, my work, I'm doing a lot of things that are like that. Like, I'm watching YouTubers and I'm watching, like, Twitch streams, or I'm, like, being online, or I'm, like, in I'm engaging with, like, my communities or my friend groups through, like, internet and meme culture and, like, stuff like that. So, like, it's important for me to want to rap about those things, especially because a lot of the time they're rapped about, or like songs are about YouTube or memes and stuff, but they're sort of played off as like jokes in a
mhm.
way that's kind of like facetious. And I mean, like, jokes are cool. I think it's fun to have jokes and stuff, but I think there's something important about making songs about the minutia of life, and like giving them sort of a breath of drama to them, drama in like a good way, not like drama like something's like really dramatic, but like drama in terms of like theatrics, I guess. And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I find that like fun and like important in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that ties into like the whole thing with like the word epic and like the meaning of that. But I think
Yes.
like
Yes, it does. It
we're going to
does.
talk about that later, but I also
Yeah.
I want to talk about like I feel like, you know, so like Zay Frank, I honestly am not familiar with Zay Frank outside of like how you've talked about him and obviously the invocation of beginnings, which
Mhm.
is the last track, which from my understanding is a piece by Zay Frank, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
like, honestly, that is such a beautiful, beautiful piece of prose and like the life you gave to it. I cannot get through that without like choking up at some point. I'm like, where is it going to be this time? Like, how far can I get in? It's like a challenge, but like,
Yeah. The
you know,
new
with
hot
that,
challenge that everyone's trying.
yes, yes. But
Yeah.
like with that ode to Zay Frank and like the fact that Zay Frank too from like his TED Talks and stuff like seems to understand like life on the internet and like the importance of life on the internet.
Mhm.
I feel like it was really like so much about your music is validating, but that in particular I think was validating. Like you put that sense of like importance in like internet and like those kinds of relationships and the things that come from it.
Yeah, like I really do feel like Say Frank comes from a time where obviously there were like people on the internet making videos or skits, or interacting with people online that were taking it seriously. But Zay Frank was, in my opinion, like one of the first people to sort of look at it and be like, this is bigger than what we are doing right now. Like this, he had the foresight to like know where it was going to go. And I mean, he like his first show was like in 2007 and 8, like the first years of YouTube. And it was like, I think there was like 5 people that were like popular on YouTube making videos at that point in time. And he was the only one that was like, he'd get a comment and then make a whole video about the comment. Like he, like everyone's input was like so important, and then like he kept that throughout his whole sort of run online. Like even when he found out that I wrote the song, he like followed me on Twitter and like sought me out, and that like
Oh,
blew
I
my mind.
love that.
Yeah, as it was so cool. Like he never turned into like an influencer. Like, yes, he was like the guy that everyone was watching, but he never like made himself the patriarch of his community. He was just
Yeah.
like, we're all online and you just happened to watch my video.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I think was so special about him, and like when he was doing the show with Zay Frank, which is what it was called. And then he was gone for a number of years. And when he came back, he launched a new show called A Show with Zay Frank. And that poem is the first video for that show.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Does he is that performance like the way he performs it, is it like as tear-jerkingly beautiful as like the way you present it, or is it in a different kind of tone?
It's definitely in a different tone. It's like cut up, like every phrase is like a new take, or like a cut or whatever. And there's some editing to it with like some like violin-esque backing music, but it's very much, I was trying to give it the same energy, but like bring more like slam poetry into it.
Mhm.
But he kind of just like reads it more like a manifesto, like
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, where yours feels really like, I don't know, it felt so spiritual to me. Like I hold it like as a mantra, you know. I have to go check out his, but like I feel like your take on it is like enough for me. I'm like, no, I'm
That's
good. This is
awesome.
fine.
I've been watching that for years. I've been watching it for years because I think it came out in like 2012, and I would
Yeah,
just rinse that video because it gave me so much, like, it got me so fired up when I would watch it.
definitely.
It made me feel like I could do anything, and like some of those things he says, like, like the one that I'm obsessed with is the tutu, when he's like, if I catch myself wearing a tutu, too fat, too late, too old. That's
Yeah.
so clever to me. And that
Yes.
type of wordplay, even that type of wordplay, like evokes something like rap about it, like,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I just was, been a huge fan of him for a long time, and I like to, like, I study him, in even like with what I do with the Epic Club is very much modeled off after what Zay Frank did with like his community and fan base.
Yeah, for sure. And talk a little bit about the Epic Club too, because I know
Yeah,
that's a thing.
yeah. The Epic Club is just like people who fuck with me, I guess, or like like uh one day I was on Instagram and I was like, everyone should just comment epic on all my posts, and that makes you in the Epic Club.
Okay.
And people did it for a while, and then it kind of petered off. But then the Epic Club kind of just became like, like my little subsection of like homie fans or
Mhm.
people that support me. And I would go stream on Twitch and make beats, and I had a phone number that you could call and talk to me. So I would be like making beats and people would call me, and then like the Epic Club just like began to start, like lore began to build about like the Epic Club and like the people that were a part of it and the people that, like it like, like it blossomed into like collaborations, and it blossomed into like inspiring younger people to make music, and people who had never made a beat or rapped to like do that and stuff like that. Just like a closed loop of inspiration where I just happened to be like the person that's like kicked it off. That's how I like to think of the Epic Club.
That's
And
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and like it's free to join. And there's no requirements. You can just join.
That's
And I
excellent. Well, I am a member. I
yeah.
forgot I'm actually wearing a pink navel t-shirt. So, yeah, I think that makes
Woohoo!
me part of the Epic Club
Yeah, it does.
automatically.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it
But
does.
so it's you've definitely like grown up and like gotten a lot of wisdom from the internet, and I feel like that's pretty prevalent from your music from the get-go.
Mhm.
And we were just talking about this earlier about was it your first album, Raw Navel? Was that your first album?
Yeah, I
Or
had some like tapes before, but like for like the Pink Navel project, that was like the first thing I did basically. Yeah.
gotcha. And from my understanding, is that the one where you are kind of telling your story about coming out as non-binary?
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely. That's like
how long ago was that? How many years has it been now since you
um
wrote that? Because that was what, 2017?
yeah, so it's been 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, that's like a chunk of time. And like,
Yeah.
listening to that, because like I was very heavily listening to your most recent album and then kind of just going back and going through the layers, and like Raw Navel is like it's like a gem in like the rough, it's absolutely beautiful. And like the
Thank
last track,
you.
Navel Jutsu, like I would highly recommend. I am looking to every non-binary person, even non-binary people right now in the audience watching, please listen to this song, because like I don't know, I am really into queer art that is like not like, I'm into all queer art, I'm into all art
Mm.
in general, as long as it's not fucking offensive or anything like that. But like I love that that song feels so non-binary to me, but not in a very like obvious like, rainbow capitalism way, where it's like very clearly like,
Yeah.
this is a song about my gender, it's like it's
Yeah.
subtle and beautiful and artful and like
Thank you.
very like moving to me as like a non-binary person. So I'd love to hear about the experience of like who you were then, like how you were coming out as non-binary, and like, yeah,
Thank you so much for
you're
saying all that
welcome.
about it. It's like that was such a big project for me because I'd been making music for a long time, but I never made something that I was like so true to like my vision or just so true to like what I wanted to say. And it definitely like kickstarted like it's like my music stopped being like like a little thing I did. Like when I made Ron Abel, I was like, this is like my life. I just put my real life on record. And
Wow.
yeah, like I really and it was such a crazy time when I made that because just about to I was in college and I this is one of your questions too about Steven Universe and
Yes, go for it,
like
please. I'm
the
sure
the
Steven Universe helped somehow.
it did help. I didn't know what the show was and then I started watching it and you get to the part with Stevani and it like Stevani gets have you seen the show?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Stevani
Stefani
gets
got me
introduced.
too.
Stevani gets introduced and like I had never, you know, I I always felt some type of way about who I was in general, but never really had the vocabulary or like the community to like show me how to explore that. And then I'm
Mhm.
watching Steven Universe and just like the way that they represent a non-binary person in this very like literal sense like it's very boiled down like for a child to like understand
Mhm.
like that
Can I ask how old you were when you first saw it though?
I was 18 or
Yeah.
17 or
Yeah,
18,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I was 17 or 18 and like it I just like hadn't realized that that was an option or like a real thing. And then I was like watching the show and then there was all this like ancillary or maybe auxiliary content with the show like I was so involved with like the forums and like the discussion of the show on Reddit and on like other forums and stuff, and really exploring that stuff and like listening to what people had to say specifically about Stevani, but also the show in general, just like opened me up to like basically just like an entire queer network, and I just like real like it helped me realize or it helped me find myself in that like pretty quickly, which is why my name is Pink Navel and then
Yes.
also why I wrote Raw Navel.
That's amazing. That is so
Yeah,
awesome. That is so
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I am a Steven Universe fan. I have this weird thing with like I have a very hard time completing things that I love dearly. So I haven't finished watching Steven Universe. I know my partner's watching right now. We're gonna watch it. I freaking swear.
It's
But like
ugh,
that show is absolutely like I kind of had that moment, or the beginnings of that moment, with Adventure Time. Did you watch
Mhm.
Adventure Time also?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like that's where I got my name from too, because like that cartoon and like Steven Universe after Adventure Time, that was like when you it was one of the first massive cartoons that had like good queer representation that wasn't like performative. It wasn't like a huge deal either. Like with
Right.
characters had these like queer experiences and it was just like, whatever,
Right. Yeah, like, it's not two-dimensional, it's not, like, performative. It's
Yes.
and they're, like it's like, these are characters that have traits outside of their queerness and then also are queer, you know?
Yes.
That's what I love
Absolutely.
about Stevani too, is, like, they never, like it's like, they never, like, had Stevani sit down with Pearl and be like, "I'm
Yes.
non" you know what I mean? Like, that never happens in the show, but it's just, like, so yeah, the way it's handled and then the way it's displayed is just, I think, so, with Adventure Time and Steven Universe, just so important and, um, yeah, three-dimensional. I was like, real. As
Yes.
real as it could get for a cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So Raw Naval is kind of like basically, that an ode to yourself and like Steven Universe helping you realize all of this and like unlock that community for
Yeah,
you that you didn't know existed.
absolutely, and it, like, furthered that for me, because then I put out Raw Naval, and I'm sort of declaring this and feeling very free by, like, doing this, because for the first time ever, I'm feeling, like, so genuine with what I'm making, and
Yeah.
also it sort of unlocked, my local scene to me, because now I had this piece of music that I could, like, go and perform.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and I did, and I would play all these different house shows and just began to truly garner like a real life network of people who are queer, and it was just epic. It was just the coolest thing ever. Like um it definitely like gave me access and entered me into a world that I like did not know how to get into, but I think
Mhm.
needed to.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Hence, this is like again kind of going back to like the importance of online spaces and like cartoons and stuff. Like I feel like it's kind of all in that same Venn
Hmm.
diagram. Like these aren't just like cartoons or online spaces. These are things that are literally changing people's lives and like giving us like voices and like faces to like
Yeah,
what the hell we're feeling. So
yeah. I
I just
totally
want
agree.
to take a moment to read some of these comments because we are getting a lot of them. One of the best online communities for Epic Club. Uh,
Yeah.
Elliot T says they remember exactly where they were when they heard the song first. That was so impactful. I think we were talking about invitation
Wow.
meetings at that point.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we're getting lots of good comments, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's what's up.
Yeah, definitely. So
Shout out to Epic Club.
how was Raw Naval received? Like, did like was the where were you? Were you in school? Like,
Um, yeah, I was in school and I'd been working on it for a long time and posting a lot about it on Facebook and and like uh I would when I had put it out, I think it was received very, very well. And within my circles of people um and I'm trying to like remember how it was received actually. Well, I
yeah,
know it
I
was
know
received
5 years
well, but
is like
you
10
know,
years.
it feels like forever ago, but
Yes,
I definitely
definitely.
know that like it introduced me to so many people that I think are like crucial to my success and um my like place in Boston DIY.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and it like really helped me like find my footing and find my place. And I think that's honestly like the best part about how it was received was that um in the community here they heard the music and and instantly sort of realized that I was someone that um, was down to clown, was down to come play a show, was and it like helped me a lot in like what I wanted to do. And to have a piece of work like that I worked really like very hard on, it yeah, it just like allowed me to sort of start getting my momentum like faster, grow my momentum in terms of like the work that I was putting in like out in the real world. And then online, I feel like it was also received really well. Um and it's still to this day, it's like the most reviewed record I have on Rate Your Music. And like
Wow.
it yeah, like it like found some circles online of people. And I love talking to people about Raw Navel because I think it's the most direct I get in my discography. I guess maybe Born on the Stairs. I'm also pretty like direct about um my identity, but I think to start out sort of my run of rap albums that way, I think was also really important. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I might be rambling, but
No, oh my God, no. That was awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah.
I think it's really incredible to hear that, like, so many things started to, like, kind of unfold for you the moment you were like, "Fuck it, this is who I am, and, like, I'm just gonna be direct about it," and,
Yes,
like,
yes, that's kind
you
of what I'm
know?
trying to. Yes, you're so right.
Yeah.
Like that's I feel like that's what I'm trying to say is like I was true to myself, and then everything I wanted like came to me like in full swing.
Yes.
Like recognition of like my talent and my work, acceptance into the scene, all of that
Mhm.
came to me as soon as I was like, I'm just going to be as like real as I possibly can and like
Yeah,
true to myself
yeah.
as I possibly can. Yeah.
'Cause before, like, Raw Naval and stuff, like, I think I read, like, it was Spin, I think, that did a piece about you, was
Uh
it?
huh.
That was a really awesome piece. There were, like,
Yeah.
sick photos in there too, but
That was a
the
really cool opportunity.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
congrats on that. Like, it was, like,
Thanks.
very professional. I was like, "Yes." I
Mhm.
feel like it's just gonna keep going like that for you too, though, which is really
Thank
cool.
you.
But,
Thank you.
I know that I think it was in that piece that you mentioned that, like, you were doing, like, emo or something prior or, like, some other type of
Yeah.
music? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like the front person of like a emo band and played
Yeah.
guitar and was doing that and playing shows with a lot of like punk bands and stuff. And it was fun. And like I definitely was like writing about stuff that was real to me at the time, but I was also like a teenager and like I
Mhm.
wasn't writing about myself more than I was writing about like my experiences in the world. And I am like proud of that work, but it definitely was like a whole nother level of like trueness when I like began to make music myself. But even that took a number of years. Like after I was in the emo bands, I rapped and made beats, and but I was like playing a character. So
Mm.
like I for some reason I just for some reason I just like didn't want to be me at all.
Mhm.
Well, I guess I can like understand that now because I didn't know who I was. So I was like, maybe I'll just invent a new person that I am. And I was like this character, and I rapped in a voice that I like put on, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah. I have a
and
customer service voice. You do not wanna hear that. Like,
yeah, like yeah, like I rapped in a different voice, like super cartoony, and all the stuff was fake. I rapped about fake stuff, like everything was like not real. And that was fun, but when you're I guess when you're faking everything, it's hard to take it seriously, especially
Mm.
like with like a lack of experience in doing that. So after a while, it just kind of I realized I liked making beats and I liked rapping, but I didn't like not being me. So then
Yes.
I had to like figure out who I was and then like kind of return to it with that mindset.
Damn. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with we talked so much about like that first kind of piece as Pink Navel, and now we have Epic, which was what, 2021?
2020. Yeah. Yep.
2021. Yeah, and that, like, I feel like your music still, like, holds the same kind of, like, core feeling to it, but it's, like, evolved, which makes
Yeah.
it's, like, it's authentic the whole way through, but you can really see, like, the development of it, and
Mhm.
I think it's cool because, like, you can still kind of, like, feel those emo influences in your music, like, your vocal style and stuff, but, like, it's yours, it's not like you're trying to be a brand or anything like that. It's like you
Oh,
took
for
what
sure.
you've learned and you're like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do this."
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, yeah. I mean, I love emo music like so much, and that's like definitely one of the things that inspires my songwriting style or like my sonic style in terms of
Mhm.
beat making and stuff. But yeah, like I think over the years, the thing that I am so much more proud of in terms of my progression is just like I just get closer and closer to like my normal speaking voice. Like even on Raw Navel, I'm like kind of lowering my voice in a weird way the whole
Mhm.
record, like in performing it. And then I think after that, like when I did Born on the Stairs, I definitely like shooed that away and just rapped in the way that I talked. And
Uh-huh.
I was so proud of that for just like, getting that out of the way and then going over like progressing even more like to epic. I think like I'm in terms of technical skill, like rapping the best I ever have. Like my breath control is amazing. Like
Uh,
I'm just like go into how awesome I am, but
no,
like
can I? Can I then? Because I yeah, I'm actually just I'm gonna. Because I didn't realize, again, until I did all my little, like, Googling research about you to see if I could, like, find cool facts, and I did not realize that you recorded, Epic in, like, one take live, right?
oh yeah,
And I
yeah,
I was like, I thought Invocation of Beginnings is the only song where I noticed you kind of, like, stumble on the words a little bit, but it was
hmm
done in such a way where I was like, I cannot imagine it without you kind of tripping on the words because it adds a whole
yeah,
layer of like humanity to it. But for the whole album being recorded in one take, I'm like, okay, wow, that's crazy. That's
yeah.
impressive.
I'll send you the video. That was like my big project. Was so I kind of like realized that I was spending a long time on records, like years. And then I would I would like mull over these like insanely minute details of each record. And Giraffe Track was like sort of the logical conclusion to that, where like every single second on Giraffe Track is like I like I like perfected every second of it. Like every second was
Wow.
mulled over. Like I was listening to it every single day over and over again, like making the tiniest notes and like going and changing stuff and really, really getting down to like the nitty-gritty of like the lore and the story and like the song structure and then like on top of that, like the album structure, like everything was swapped and changed and rewrote and like so many times. And then COVID happened and I put the record out and then it like didn't do as well as I wanted. And I was like, I just worked so hard on this album and no one cares. That
Oh,
sucks. Whatever.
uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
then COVID happens and then I was like, I'm ready to make another album. I'm just gonna work on it like the least amount that I possibly can. So I made Epic in like 2 weeks, and then all of the other time that I just spent that time perfecting a performance of the album front to back. And
Wow.
then and like all of the samples, I'm like launching all those samples live. Like I have 2 404s and I'm like, boom, I remember where to put all the stuff and like the transitions and the effects and everything. And then I got sort of linked up or I brought this idea to Space Gallery in Portland, Maine, and they were down to help me out and we filmed it in their basement in their green room basement with like a 2 camera system. It's just 2 super professional filmographers, and there's
Wow.
like people recording the audio. And and we just like went at it. We did 2 takes that day, and then we used the first take, I think. And yeah, like we just performed it front to back. I set up my gear, they filmed everything, and then we like premiered it as like a stream, and we like charged tickets, and we were like doing all this press, and then
Wow.
yeah, it was sick. It was so sick. I was like so proud of it, like because I didn't work that long on it, but I worked so hard on like the orchestration of putting the album out and the performance of the album that I
Mhm.
think that comes across as like so high effort. I don't know, but that all that to say, like logistically, it's been my most successful record ever. Like
Yeah,
ever. Like yeah, it's been I've been super floored by like what what the album Epic has brought me to, cuz like
that's
it's
amazing.
yeah, unlike anything I would have ever dreamed. I mean, hoped of for sure, but realistically I would never thought I'd like get on Spin or like go to Canada or like
And that
be
was
on
all kind of
Pitchfork.
that sprang from Epic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's another theme, like, right? Like, you worked out because was Draft Track the album prior to,
Yeah.
Epic? Yeah, and, like, so you work your ass off on that, and you're meticulous, and I assume that, I'm an artist too, and I'm very self-critical of myself. You're probably agonizing over everything, and
Yeah.
then you make Epic in 2 weeks, and, like, for those of y'all who have not heard Epic, like, the fact that you did that in 2 weeks, let alone performed it, like, wow, alright, but
Well,
yeah,
I
it's
shouldn't say
really
that. Thank you so much, but, like,
yeah.
to be, like, super clear, I didn't make the beats all in 2 weeks. The beats I had already, so I wrote, like, the lyrics in 2
Yes,
weeks.
yes, it's
To
still
be
very
specific.
impressive, Dev.
Thanks. Thanks, thank you.
You're welcome, but yeah,
Yeah,
again, like, you just let it go and you're like, "Screw it, this is what I wanna do," and you did it, and all
yeah,
of the success follows, it's awesome.
yeah, thank you, yeah. I'm super stoked with it, and, like, the club loves it, and 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 it's been so fun. It was my first vinyl release, and it was
Wow.
all self-funded. Like I did it all myself. I did all the filming all myself. I shipped out all the orders, and
Oh my god.
yeah.
Are you still, like, doing all the shipping out
Oh,
orders and stuff
yeah,
yourself? Yeah?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I do all that myself, and then I do some for Rubiot too, like Rubiot orders. Like
Yes.
yeah, like
Yes.
if you're waiting on a Nostrum Grocer's tape or a Budding Ornithologist tape, I mailing them out tomorrow. I promise. They're going to the post office tomorrow.
This feels like a really good opportunity to talk about the Ruby yacht and
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it does.
a little bit about what the Ruby yacht is and how you got connected with the artist Rap Ferreira, who's another awesome artist that everyone should check out.
Yeah, Rose the best. I discovered Milo, Roy's previous rap name,
Mhm.
on from the Needle Drop. Anthony Fantano reviewed his first mixtape, and I just became obsessed with it. I had never heard of art rap. I had never heard of rap music where people said stuff about Star Wars ever.
Uh-huh.
Like it blew my mind, and I just because I was pretty young. I think I was 16 or 15 when I first heard that. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I want that in my
Yeah,
life all the time. And
yeah.
became a pretty big Milo fan. And he came to Boston on his first tour in 2013, I
Mhm.
think. So almost 10 years ago. And I was like one of 6 people to go to the show. And I basically like as soon as we
Wow.
got there, I was just like chatting him up like crazy, asking him so many questions. I asked for photos and like all this stuff, and like asked him about like like what's the machine that you use to play shows, and we just chatted for a long time. And then after that, I added him on Facebook because he was nice enough to like add me back, and I would just like message him all the time. Like like every day I send him a message like random questions and just like random stuff and all this thing. And like he was pretty much the whole time he was so nice and like graceful and like he answered my questions, and like he like like knew that I loved this kind of music, and I just wanted to know more about it. Like he was just so cool about it. And then the years go on and I start to rap. He's giving me all this advice and information about what gear to buy and like how to record, like where to upload the music to, like everything. And the years go by and he starts the Rubaiyat crew. And I was like, that's what I want to join. I want to start rapping and join this crew. Like that's my goal.
And talk a
And
little bit, just like a
yeah,
couple sentences about what the Ruby Yacht Crew does, just so, for anyone who's not
yeah,
familiar.
yeah. The Rubaiyat is a rap crew, a poet gang of myself, SB the Moore, Vastness, Eldon Summers, Kenny Siegel, Randall Bravery, Rap Ferreira, Kayla Sheree. And we're a group of people who all make amazing rap music, and our goal is to do this and do it well without, completely independent. Like we
Mm-hmm.
are the whole crew. There's no press person, there's no manager, there's no label. We are the label, and we
Mm-hmm.
all have this thing in a like mind, this idea and this goal in a like mind, where like we should be able to do this ourselves and do it our way, you know
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what brings us together, is this like is this desire to do and be a part of this rap game on our own terms.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's basically what the Rubaiyat is. And when it was first formed, it was just 3 people, and I was just such a huge fan of them all. And I sort of had a connection with Rory from Facebook, and I would just message him all the time, and I'd be like, "Yo, dog, I want to send you an audition tape. Like, let me mail you this cassette tape of my audition, and then you'll know how ill I am," or whatever, you know. And eventually, I
That's
was
wholesome
able.
as fuck.
And then I was able to send one out, and I sent out my audition tape, and Rory still has it in his house. I saw it last time I was there. Like, and then a couple years after that, he asked me to join the crew,
That's
and I
crazy.
did, and then it really changed my life. Like it because I was in college and I dropped out to join Rubaiyat. Like I was like, peace.
I would have
I'm
too.
Yeah. And then I moved up to Maine, and we all lived in Maine for a number of years. I spent 4 years in Maine.
Wow. Like with the
Yeah.
crew?
Yep. Well,
That's
not the whole
incredible.
time with the crew. I think everybody was there for like 2.5 years. And then people began to like move away and stuff, and things
Mm-hmm.
like were changing. But I spent a total of 4 years in Maine. I'm trying to get back because I love it so much. But it
Yeah.
was just such a formative part of my life from when I was like 22 to 24, or like
Yeah.
21 to 24. Like just a very like crazy part of my life where I was so hypnotized by like what we were capable of. Like I was like, all of a sudden I was living in Maine with 2 other dope rappers in an apartment building, and the apartment building is above the shop that Rory owns. And then every day we all go down to the shop and make beats and smoke weed and
Wow.
you know what I mean? And like hang out. And I was like the youngest one by a large margin for a long time. Um Not a super large margin. I was the youngest one. And like it was just cool to like garner all this wisdom and meet all these amazing people, and like like travel the world. My first ever like cross country tour was with the Rubaiyat.
Yeah.
Like that totally like changed my entire life, and made me realize that like if I just buckle down and put the work in, I can do all this myself, and I don't need to wait for somebody to allow me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
especially when you connect with other people that are feeling the exact same way,
Right.
that's where the beauty happens.
Right. So true. So true. So yeah, it was just awesome. And I'll be loyal to the Rubaiyat forever because of what what I've been shown and what I've been like given because of it, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really super duper special.
Yeah. One of my questions was like, you know, you mentioned that like you have this friendship with Rory, who is rep for Rara now, right?
Yeah.
Is his
Yep.
artist name.
Rap Ferrera.
Um, so like you know, you've had this relationship with him, and then he, you know, announces starting the Ruby Yacht, and that's like your goal. You want to do that. And, you know, then it happens. Like, why was it like, you know, when you saw him announce that, why you were like, yes, this is what I want to do? Like, what was so important about that camaraderie and what they were doing that was appealing to you?
I think it was because the music is is truly so unique, and I felt that there was like such bravery in making music like the Rubaiyat does, and then being like, we are doing this ourselves. We don't have any, more, we don't have any like team or more popular person to like put us on. It's just us. We're the crew.
Hmm.
And that was so cool to me because I felt like a lot of my time playing shows and in the DIY scene out here in Boston and like rapping and stuff, I kind of always felt like my big break or my like road to success would be by trying my best to open for like every big rapper that comes through Boston. Like
Hmm.
every time a popular rapper would, play a show through Boston, I'd try to send some emails and see if I can't get on the bill. And now there's this crew who's just like, nah, it's us and we're ill. And that's and like that to me was just so appealing. And because I loved the music so much and I studied these artists so much that I was like, whoa, like they're doing their own thing. Like that's
Hmm.
so cool. And when I realized it was a group, I was like, well, now it's my goal to join
Yeah.
because I want to be in league with these people and just just like show what their influence from afar has done. Because
Hmm.
I hadn't ever like made a song with somebody in Rubaiyat before I joined, or like I was just doing my own thing the way that I did, and like when I worked very hard, but um like oh, I was trying to say that like just from the internet and just from being a fan, this is what their inspiration has done to me, like from myself as like a younger person, and like what that shows as a testament to their power
Yeah.
as artists. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
like they have like y'all have a pretty decent following too. I mean, like you're over there
Yeah.
packing orders and telling people like you got them and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
The Rubaiyat fan base is great. It's a really cool bunch of folks, and they're super cool, and they have a Discord page that I'm on sometimes with like I think like 1,500 people in there or something, and it's pretty cool. It's cool to see them all chat about stuff and get stoked for like the next Rubaiyat album or like Rory's next album, or yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Um, do you have any plans musically? Do you
Oh,
or anything
yeah,
on the
yeah,
schedule
yeah.
coming up? Yeah.
I have an album coming out. I've been working really hard on it. I've been trying to like keep it under wraps, but I
Oh,
will
you don't
say
have
that
to say anything.
well, no, I will say that I'll just say this. It's with a producer that I've always wanted to work with, and I'm very
That's
excited to
awesome.
do this collab, and I'm very excited that I'm like the next person in this lineage who's like being given the chance to make an album with this person, and it's gonna be really good.
Wow. Those were some
Yeah.
serious teasers. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking
So
forward to it.
that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're still going strong with that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like there were so many things that I did not get to ask you, but that's okay because I'm sure that, we'll be working together in the future.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that'd be
but
great.
this was one thing I really wanted to talk to you about because I know that you are so big into like, you have so many like cartoon references in your
Mhm.
music, like anime, video games, like YouTube culture. Um, and recently I was talking with a friend, shout out Pat if you're out there. He told me about Birdo from the Super Mario franchise being trans, and I was really interested about that. And come to find out, for anybody who's unfamiliar with this character, it seems as though this character is created kind of like as like an offensive caricature of a trans person. So I'm interested to hear from you as a person who's like obviously into a lot of different Nintendo games and things like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Because like I think there are so many different ways to interpret it. So
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, "Whoa, what?" So then I was looking it up and I was like, "That's crazy." It's
right?
bl it was blowing my mind, and
Yes.
it's unfortunate, you know? It's super unfortunate that, um um it's just super unfortunate that that stuff happens, and it's really, really hard to ignore, especially with, like, characters from franchises that are, like, so integral and so, like, historic,
Mhm.
you know, because like, I feel like some people would say something like, "Oh, like, Birdo is an old character, like,
Mhm.
Birdo's been around since da 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 da," but also Birdo has existed this whole time, so, like,
Yes.
there could have been a time where they could have, like, done something about that history and for Birdo,
Yeah.
and they just
Yeah.
haven't, and it's so frustrating, and I think because like, you wrote that you love Birdo,
And you know what? I still do. And I think
it's
there's like
tough.
power and like in reclamation. Like, like Nintendo wants me to feel bad about them portraying Birdo like this, but I'm over
Mhm.
here like Birdo is still cool as hell. Like you can't change that just because you
Yeah,
have like malicious intent with doing this,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's so true, and I think that's what it gets down to is, like, it's it is like a reclamation of, like, acknowledging that, like, the creators of this thing have, like, done something evil in a way, but
Mhm.
then what better retaliation than to take what they've made and be like, "Nah, this is ours now. Like, Birdo is
Exactly.
ours." Like,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. And sort of focus in on like what we love about Birdo and the character and like any character like that. Or like I actually think about this all the time because like like fictional characters are are made by a corporation or a group, but they are given life by us.
Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
they're
Yep.
given life by us. Like Mickey Mouse is ours. Yeah,
Mhm.
like
Yes,
like
exactly, exactly.
like if nobody cared about Mickey Mouse, there would be no Disney World.
Yes, yes, exactly.
But
It's so
but we
true.
do. Yeah,
It's
because
so
we like
true.
him and like we like what he represents and we like how he looks and we like his funny voice and we like that he's a goofy little guy.
Yeah.
And
That's my gender, a goofy little
a
guy.
goofy little guy. Just a goofy little guy. Yeah.
Let's see. We have a couple of questions actually popping up in here. We got a question from D who says, I followed Rory for a long time, and looking back on his discography, there's a lot of times he references people, even alleged fans, being racist to him in sometimes subtle and often overt ways. At Yo Milo comes to mind. Question is, do you feel like the same shittiness gets thrown at you, or do you feel like the scene has advanced in intervening years and your personhood isn't called into question like it might have been 10 years ago? Wow.
Whoa. That's a good and also very heavy question. I definitely feel like I definitely feel like sometimes, I mean, in general, I think traveling, rapping, and doing what I do and being the kind of person I am, there are people that will say weird things to me at the show, and I'm just like, that's so peculiar that you know, would feel comfortable saying that to me in real life. And but
That's a really good response when someone says something fucked up. What
it's
you
just
just said. That's so
it's so
peculiar.
it's so peculiar that you felt good to say that. And I'm very like non-confrontational, so like maybe there are times where people have like said things to me where I should have been like F off, like you suck or whatever. But usually I just kind of stop talking to them. And like actually that happened to me in Canada. I was talking to this dude and then he like wouldn't stop like saying a weird thing to me about like how I'm the only rapper at this festival or whatever, which like wasn't even true. So he was just like he was being really weird. And then I just like turned around and started talking to other people, and then he was like, "What? Did I say something weird?" And I was just like, "Yeah, dude." So yeah, I guess it does happen to me. Like people say things that are at best odd, at worst racist to me on tour, or they just do things that are weird. I've seen traveling a lot, I've seen people mistake my friends for Rory, or like me for Rory, or like, you know, like people who are supposed to be like fans of us,
Mm-hmm.
they'll think that like SB the More is you know, is Milo, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that happens. And like just like, dang, that's crazy. But I think in general, obviously, like things are progressing, but I think that's something that's very tough to completely get rid of, especially when every single person is like on their own path of like learning and being able to like read a room and in general. But I will say overall, I don't feel like my personhood has ever been like called into question at a show, but I've definitely been made to be uncomfortable or like been like othered in an environment where I thought that that wouldn't happen.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Thanks for answering that. And there
Oh,
is
for
one more
sure.
question too, which hopefully is a little bit more lighthearted. What's going on with
Oh,
Frisbee Club?
oh, Frisbee Club. That's my folk rock band.
Okay. All
I have a
right.
folk rock band called a Frisbee Club. We're recording in October.
Oh,
That's
excellent.
what's happening.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had a record, but we scrapped it because I've been writing songs with my friend Michael for like 2 years now,
That's so
and
cool.
it's all just very much like Judy Sill folky music, like very like Fleetwood Mac, very like
Yes.
singer songwriter stuff, which is like what I'm also a huge fan of too, is like folk music and like indie rock and stuff like that. So
Me too.
it's a lot like that. And yeah, it's called the First Passionate Frisbee Club, and we're recording in October.
That is so
That's the
exciting. I will
Yeah.
keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, so I'll have that record out. I don't know, sometime.
Sometime. It'll happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm learning to play the spoon, so maybe we can jam sometime. I'll get you some
Whoa.
percussion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When I come, I'll bring my guitar when I come to State House and just
Oh
like have it
shit.
with
All
me.
right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
practice a little bit more.
Nice,
We have till
nice.
September, folks. All right.
Yeah.
So we are almost out of time. I want to thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And again, really looking forward to having you come back to Connecticut. All the details will be dropped on the New Haven Pride Center and stuff once we officially announce that. Full Pride
cool.
New Haven schedule will be announced on August 24th, says this pop-up on my screen, so that was helpful.
Perfect.
But do you have anything you wanted to say before we end for the evening, or any kind of
Just
exciting announcements? Or
no, I'm excited to come back to Connecticut and play a show. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you New Haven Pride in general just for like showing some love. I really truly do appreciate that, and just I'm stoked to see what y'all got going on. And yeah, thank you.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun. I'm excited. We're
yeah.
all excited to have you. So
Cool.
all right,
Sick,
awesome.
sick.
So thank you so much, Dev, and
Yeah, thank
I'll see you
you.
next month.
See you next month. Peace out.